Here we'll go deeper into understanding array and object. We'll try using them together. Like right now we have two objects, student1 and student2. Student1 contains multiple key and value pair like name John, age 24, is adult is true, and it also contains favorite fruits, that is an array. So how can we do operations on array inside object or object inside array? We'll try to do that. So let's see, if we want to access the name John from this object, we can just go ahead and say the name of the variable, that is student1 dot name. If we want to access age, we can go ahead and say age. Say if we want to access apple, the first element of the array favorite fruit inside the object student1. So how can we do that? So we'll access the object first. So student1 is the object that contains a key called favorite fruit, that contains a key fav fruit. So to access a string key, we just use dot operator. So this will give us an array. Now to access value from an array, we just use square bracket. So we'll go ahead and say 0 and we'll get apple. So whenever you have to access a string property from an object, we use dot. But whenever we want to access an element from an array, because the key is number, we have to use square bracket. So let's just go ahead and repeat that thing and access orange from here. So to access that, we'll say student1 dot, because the key we are accessing is a string, we'll go ahead and use dot operator. And now we want to access index 1, the second element, and we'll get orange. We can do the same thing here. Student2 is an object. We want to access a key, that is a string, from this object. So we'll go ahead and use dot operator. And the index we want to access either 0 or 1. So let's go ahead and use 1. So this is how you access array inside an object. It can be different level. What if we want to take it to the next level by just adding a new property inside student2 called new student, which points to student1. So new student queue points to student1. What I want is to access apple, but through this. So to do that, the first thing we have to access is new student using student2. So we'll say student2 dot new student will give me access to this object. And now I want to access this key. So we'll go ahead and say favorite fruits. And this is an array. So we can go ahead and say the index 0 or 1. And we'll access orange using this. It can be as deep as possible. But whenever you are accessing an object and the key is a string, use dot. And whenever you are accessing an array, you should always use square brackets. So this is how you access array in object. Let's go ahead and do object inside array. Now we have students array. The students array contain two students, student1 and student2. Both of them are objects. What if we want to access the property name John using this array? So we'll go ahead, say students. It's an array. I want to access the first element. So the index is 0. So 0 index points to this object. Now, because this is an object and the key is string, we can just use dot operator and say name. Similarly, if we do students of 1, so we'll get on to student2 and dot name will give us Arya. Similarly, if we want to access apple, to do that, we'll go ahead and say students first element, that is index 0 dot favorite fruit, and now I want to access index 0. Similarly, I can do it for student2 and we'll get mango. So this is how you access object in an array. The only thing to keep in head is whenever it is an object and the key is string, use dot. Whenever it is an array, always use square bracket. You can keep going as deep as possible.